Hello everyone! This time we're going to talk about Kaufmo. This is the most mysterious and most enigmatic character of the Amazing Digital Circus by Glitch Productions. In my very first video, I talked shortly about Kaufmo. If anyone hasn't watched my review, you should definitely check it out. It has a lot of interesting stuff in it about Digital Circus. I'll leave the links in the description as always. And today we'll go back to Kaufmo's room and uncover the secrets of this mysterious character. Who is Kaufmo? What happened to him? Watch carefully until the end and you will find out. When I watched the Digital Circus pilot project, I, like many others, was not clear what this strange clown was that we haven't seen. What was very surprising was his mysterious room and the monster that popped out of that room. I thought about it for a long time. I went back to Kaufmo's room again and again. I looked at the drawings on the walls of his room. I felt like an archaeologist who was studying the cave paintings left by ancient people and who was trying to understand how those ancient people lived. And so I solved the mystery of Kaufmo, and today I will tell you about it. But first, as usual, I'll start by guessing who this person was before he got into the digital circus. Some people think he was a clown in life. Some think he was a loser. No, no, and no. It's not like that at all. The clown was just a child's toy that he played with when he was very young. In fact, he was just a normal, perfectly normal person. Just like you and me. And then one day, for some reason, this man put on this particular VR headset. What happens next? And then he sees a message that he needs to remember any toy from his childhood to continue. He randomly remembers a toy clown from his childhood. And lo and behold, the trap is slammed. The next moment, he is already in a digital circus in the form of this clown named Kaufmo. I think what happened next was the same as POMNI. Kaufmo also tried to take off the VR headset, pulling himself by different parts of his face until he realized there was no way out. Next, he saw a door labeled Exit that similarly shattered into pixels and disappeared. And then endless adventures from Kane. But Kaufmo didn't accept that there was no way out. And so he, in order not to forget in the merry-go-round of events, his main goal makes the inscription Exit on the wall of his room. We sometimes make reminders about important things in a notebook, on a piece of paper, or on a sticker. That's what Kaufmo did. But he didn't have any paper or post-it notes. But the next day, no exit was found, and Kaufmo reinforces his reminder with a second exit inscription, and then makes a third inscription, and a fourth. At this time, Kaufmo is feeling good. He is intensely looking for a way out. I think at this time, Kaufmo saw someone from the digital circus abstracted and turned into a shapeless monster. Apparently, Kaufmo was very impressed by this and wanted even more strongly to find a way out. Perhaps like POMNI, he once walked through a door labeled Exit and saw a maze. And then he opened the door to the void. Perhaps at that moment, Kaufmo thought he had found the exit, but was brought back by Kane. He probably went into that maze more than once, and Kane brought him back each time. Then, out of frustration, Kaufmo painted this exact scene on the wall with the words, "No way out." Most likely, he, like POMNI, wanted to share his hope for an exit with the other characters in the digital circus, but he was also told that there was no way out, get over it, or you'll go insane. But Kaufmo was persistent. Remember, I suggested that before the digital circus, he was just a normal person. And so in his search for understanding, Kaufmo decided to get more attention from the other characters in the digital circus. Then, Kaufmo took advantage of the fact that he was in the guise of a clown to try to cheer them up and make them laugh. But he wasn't very good at it. Remember how GANGLE said, "I hope he's not still mad at me for not laughing at his jokes." And RAGATHA was saying the same thing. Kaufmo, listen! I know we didn't always get along, like when you called me out for fake laughing at your jokes. Perhaps when Kaufmo was being funny and friendly, he He was trying to keep his sanity and not reach the point where there was no going back. But over time, Kaufmo realized that in the digital circus, he is practically useless. And so Kaufmo's patience ran out, his nerves frayed. Kaufmo was looking for support. He needed someone with whom he could discuss this problem, together, make a plan to find a way out, or just to talk and reduce the heat of emotions. But the trouble with Kaufmo was that he was alone. No one wanted to listen to Kaufmo and think of a way out. Remember, I told you before that Kinger made a cushion castle in the center of the hall out of fear of being alone. Kinger, unlike Kaufmo, instinctively understood that you can't lock yourself alone in a room. Jax and Ragatha turned their attention to Kane's adventures. Everyone realized that you can't think too long about a way out that isn't there. It could make you insane. We see that the characters in the digital circus are all together all the time. But at the same time, they are each on their own, each for themselves. That's probably their biggest problem. And now Kaufmo, realizing that he is alone, locks himself in his room more and more often. Instead of looking for a way out, he draws pictures of dark exits to nowhere with clowns like Kaufmo running and the words, "No exit," on them. He also draws pictures with an abstracted character. Every day he continues to write the word exit. But now in big letters. You can see that he writes them very nervously. He scribbles lines, repeating them several times. His nerves are tense. His patience is running out. There is one bright moment in Kaufmo's dark and terrible room. It is a portrait of a man. This man is calm, and he is smiling. I think that Kaufmo here has drawn himself in an ordinary life. This means that he remembers something from a past ordinary life. But also, on top of this painting, we see the caption, "What did the exit buy to the clown?" And then one terrible day, Kaufmo's nerves failed. He reached his limit and abstracted himself. He turned into a shapeless monster of black color. All over his shapeless body, some multicolored eyes. How long he sat in the room as an abstracted monster is not known. But when Jax opened the door of his room, the abstracted Kaufmo burst out and pounced on Ragatha. Why did an abstracted Kaufmo lash out at Ragatha? Kaufmo probably had no reason to be so angry with Ragatha. After all, he didn't write her name on the walls and ceiling of his room, but the word exit. So he was out of control. It must have been a very large outburst of anger. Well, people do that sometimes. Very rarely. That's how it is with digital circus characters when they reach their limit. Meaning that when a digital circus character reaches the limit of his patience, he has something happen, and he stops controlling himself and turns into something black, shapeless, and horrible. Now, it becomes clear why Kinger was so badly frightened. Next, we see the abstracted Kaufmo wanting to pounce on Pomni, and then he pounced on the Gloinks. This means that in this state, he pounces on anything that moves. And further, the abstracted Kaufmo stomped on the Queen of the Gloinks. And I also noticed that abstracted Kaufmo was sitting quietly in his dark room until Jax opened it. And then abstracted Kaufmo burst out of his room and started attacking everyone. But until the door of his room was opened, abstracted Kaufmo sat in his room. And we saw that his room was dark. This means that while the abstracted character is in the dark, he is calm. And when he sees the light, he becomes enraged. After all the events, we saw how Kane easily handled the abstracted Kaufmo. He sent Kaufmo into the cellar in one motion. Next, we see the cellar. The cellar is dark, but we see that there are already creatures there that look like the abstracted Kaufmo. And they are all sitting in the dark cellar, quietly and calmly. That means the darkness calms the abstracted ones. So what is abstraction? Is it the death of a character? Is it a quit in the game? Or is it something else? That's what I'll tell you about in the next video. Subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to give me a like. If you liked something, let me know. Write in the comments. If you disagree with something, also write. In the new video, I will return to this topic. It will be even more interesting. Take care, and do not lose your temper.